$750,000 in a single month. When you see a figure like that attached to a YouTube channel, your mind immediately goes to scale. You assume there's a huge infrastructure.
A whole studio, a production team, writers, editors.
Exactly. Or you assume it's just a statistical outlier, a complete fluke.
Lightning striking a lottery ticket.
Right. But what we're looking at today is neither of those things. We are analyzing the operation of Matt Wolf, a single individual who runs the world's leading AI education channel. But there's a core contradiction in the data here, an anomaly.
It's a significant deviation from the entire market trend right now.
You have an operator with access to every single generative AI tool on the planet. He reports on them daily. He understands the technology better than almost anyone. And yet, for the single most expensive, most time-consuming part of his business, the video itself, he explicitly refuses to use AI.
And that refusal is the entire linchpin of this case study. I mean, the market right now is completely obsessed with AI generation. All the pitches are about avatars, voice cloning, script generation.
The goal is to remove the human, lower the cost.
Precisely. Wolf has taken the inverse position. He's built an entire empire on AI curation. He's not using the machine to replace the operator. He's using the machine to increase the operator's bandwidth by, well, a factor of 10.
So that's the workflow we're going to dissect. This isn't about some hustle culture mantra. This is a specific technical architecture. We are going to break down his automation stack, the actual logic of his agents, and the split test data that led him to ban synthetic media from his channel.
He's treating content creation as a supply chain problem.
Yeah.
A logistics problem.
Let's start with the core friction point. In tech, and especially in AI, the value of information decays incredibly fast. A news story's half-life is, what, 12 hours?
If you're relying on a standard newsletter or some weekly wrap-up, you are historically illiterate by the time you even open it. In this niche, 24 hours is an eternity. To be the primary source, your intake has to be near real time. But a human can't do that. You can't read everything.
Which brings us to the infrastructure. Wolf isn't using the standard no-code tools for this. It's not Zapier. It's not Make. He has standardized his entire operation on N8N.
And that distinction is not trivial.
Why? To the average user, an automation tool is an automation tool. What's the real functional advantage of N8N in this workflow?
It comes down to control. Architectural control and cost. Zapier, Make are great for linear triggers. If this, then that. But they charge you by the task. When you process high-volume data streams, those costs scale up punitively.
But N8N is different.
It's node-based, and, this is crucial, it's self-hostable.
Meaning he owns the pipe.
He owns the pipe and the server it runs on. It allows for complex looping structures. So if you need to scrape 50 RSS feeds, process all that text, and then loop it back through an API, Zapier would just struggle. The complexity, the cost.
Yeah.
N8N lets you build what is essentially a proprietary software backend, not just chaining together consumer apps.
So let's trace the data path. It starts with a cron job.
A cron job, yeah. It's just a time-based scheduler. It's the heartbeat of the whole system.
Yeah.
Every 8 hours precisely, the system wakes up. It doesn't wait to be triggered. It's proactive.
And it targets two specific data pools.
First, a dedicated Gmail node. And this is a really important hygiene step. This is not his personal inbox. It's a clean room email address that exists for one reason, to subscribe to high-signal newsletters. Second, Feedly, which scrapes the engineering blogs of all the major players, Microsoft, Meta, Google, TechCrunch.
Okay, so the system ingests the data, but just forwarding emails isn't really automation.
No, that's just relocation. Relocation creates clutter. Automation creates order. The workflow logs into the Gmail server, scans for any unread messages in that 8-hour window, and then, this part is key, it marks them as read.
Deduplication.
Exactly. It makes sure the next cycle doesn't process the same data twice. Then it triggers an aggregation node. It strips out all the HTML, the formatting, the images, all the noise, and it extracts just the text payload from dozens of sources. It puts it all together into a single, massive, unstructured text object.
And this is where the modern LLM stack really changes the game. A few years ago, you couldn't do much with a text file that large. It would just break the model.
Right, the context window constraint. Wolf feeds this huge document into Gemini 1.5 Pro, or now the newer 2.5 models. And the choice of model is purely technical. It's not a preference. He's not using GPT-4 for this because he needs that massive context window, up to 2 million tokens.
So for anyone listening, what is the practical implication of that token limit?
Well, imagine asking an analyst to summarize a book, but the analyst has amnesia every 10 pages. By chapter 3, they've forgotten the introduction. That's a small context window. With 2 million tokens, Gemini can hold the entire data dump from the last 8 hours. All the newsletters, the blogs, it can hold it all in its working memory at the same time without losing details from the start of the stream.
So the data is in the brain. Now comes the extraction. He's not just asking for a summary.
No, a summary is passive. He demands structured intelligence. He prompts it to extract 3 specific lists. First, a bulleted list of hard news. Second, a list of every new AI tool that's been released or updated.
Which feeds his database and the Future Tools platform.
Correct. But it's the third output that's the strategic masterstroke. It's sort of the hidden agent. The system is prompted to extract a list of every sponsor mentioned across all of those sources.
This changes the entire dynamic. This isn't content research anymore.
It is competitive intelligence and automated business development. I mean, think about the signal quality of that list. It's not just a list of companies. It's a verified list of entities who are actively spending marketing dollars in his exact niche right now.
He's automating his own lead generation.
He is completely bypassing the prospecting phase of sales. He doesn't need to guess who has a budget. The automation delivers a qualified lead list to him every 8 hours. He can see who's sponsoring his competitors and immediately target them.
And the delivery mechanism for all this.
It's frictionless. The system takes these 3 lists, news, tools, sponsors, formats there, and pushes them directly into a draft post on WordPress.
So when he sits down at his desk to work,
the research is already finished. He logs into a pre-populated dashboard of global intelligence, all sorted and categorized. He hasn't spent 1 second browsing or scrolling or searching. The whole hunting phase is just eliminated. He starts his day at the synthesis phase.
Okay, so that solves the input bottleneck, but we have to address the output. As we said, he refuses to use AI for the video itself. This just seems inefficient. If you have the script, why not use an avatar? Why not clone the voice?
Because he ran the numbers. This is not some philosophical stance. It is a purely data-driven decision. Wolf ran split tests. He tested AI-generated thumbnails with stable diffusion. He tested the whole faceless YouTube channel model. He tested avatars.
And the metrics?
The retention metrics just collapsed. Viewers bounce the absolute moment they detect static media.
The uncanny valley.
It's even deeper than that. It's a trust signal. Wolf talks about what is effectively the slop theory of the internet. As the cost of creating content drops to 0, the volume of content approaches infinity.
Okay.
And 99% of that content will be low-effort, AI-generated noise.
Slop.
Exactly. And in an ecosystem that's flooded with that synthetic noise, the premium asset becomes the verified human connection, the imperfections, the cadence of a human voice. That becomes the scarcity. And scarcity drives value.
So the inefficiency of filming himself is actually his moat.
It's the only part of his entire process that cannot be commoditized. If he uses an avatar, he's competing with 10,000 other channels that can use the exact same avatar. By being Matt Wolf, he has a monopoly of one.
He still uses AI for the invisible work ChatGPT, for ideation, for titles, for structuring a script, but the interface with the audience is biological.
Automate the logistics to elevate the humanity. That's the formula.
Let's talk about the financial architecture, that $750,000 figure in a single month. If you break it down, it's really a blueprint for a modern media company. This isn't just YouTube AdSense.
No, AdSense is the smallest piece of the pie. It's what you might call the dumb revenue. The primary driver, about 60%, is sponsorships. And this connects right back to his bundle strategy.
How is that inventory structured?
He controls 3 distinct assets. The YouTube channel, his Future Tools newsletter with over 250,000 subscribers, and the featured listings on his website. This gives him pricing leverage. When a brand comes to him, he doesn't just sell a video slot. He sells them the whole ecosystem.
So if a brand hesitates at the price for the video,
he adds a newsletter slot. He adds a website feature.
Right.
And for him, these are high-margin, basically zero-cost additions. It costs him nothing to add a logo to a newsletter he's already sending out. But the perceived value for the sponsor is high. It lets him keep his premium pricing on the video by subsidizing it with the other assets.
And there's a third revenue stream here that's maybe the most sophisticated, the investment flywheel.
This is where he moves from being just an operator to a capital allocator. That NNN system we talked about, the one that forces him to review every new tool, it acts as a forcing function for due diligence.
He's effectively running a venture capital analyst workflow as a byproduct of creating his content.
Precisely. He sees the tools before they trend. He tests them. He knows which teams are actually shipping good code and which ones are just shipping vaporware. He then uses that information asymmetry to angel invest in the best tools himself,
He invested in Leonardo AI.
which was then acquired by Canva. He
Yeah.
invested in Riplet, Factory AI.
So the research creates the content generates the capital, and then the capital is deployed back into the subjects of the research.
It's a completely closed loop. If the tools he invests in succeed, his equity grows. If they fail, well, he's still got the content out of them. It de-risks the entire investment process.
I want to touch on his growth strategy, specifically on volume. There's this old saying, quality over quantity. Wolf seems to have disregarded that entirely during the big ChatGPT launch.
He uploaded a video every single day for 28 consecutive days.
Why?
Because in the genesis phase of a new trend, quantity is quality. Or, to be more precise, quantity is data. When a paradigm shifts, like the release of ChatGPT, the audience doesn't actually know what it wants yet. The algorithm doesn't know what to serve.
You can't predict the hit.
You can't predict it, so you have to discover it. He used those daily uploads like sonar. He was just pinging the market constantly. He analyzed the flops and the hits programmatically. If a format didn't work, he killed it. If a topic spiked, he doubled down on it immediately. He wasn't guessing, he was brute forcing the feedback loop. And that spring gained him 100,000 subscribers a month.
He bought the data with sleep deprivation.
He traded short-term exhaustion for long-term algorithmic dominance. Once he had the data, then he could slow down and focus on quality. But you can't optimize quality if you don't even know what the target is.
Looking forward, Wolf's outlook on his own industry is surprisingly bearish. He's the AI guy, but he predicts AI video will be a net negative, at least in the short term.
He anticipates a total collapse in the signal-to-noise ratio. He believes the slop will make large parts of the internet unusable for a time.
A deluge of low-effort, low-quality content.
Exactly. And this just reinforces his entire human-centric strategy. If your feed is 90% fake, the verification of a real human creator becomes the primary filter for the audience.
There is, however, a counter-argument that he acknowledges. Generational drift.
The Gen Alpha variable, yes. There's a real possibility that the generation entering the market now just doesn't carry the same bias against synthetic media. They may not care if the influencer they follow is a real person or a code base.
If the content is good, the source becomes irrelevant.
That's the risk. But Wolf is betting that for the next 5 to 10 years, which is the window that matters for his business, the uncanny valley remains a ditch that most creators will fall into. The tech just isn't invisible yet.
So the directive for an operator listening to this is pretty clear. Don't automate the performance, automate the ingestion.
Correct. Matt Wolf didn't build a YouTube channel. He built a data processing facility that happens to output media assets. He automated all the low-leverage work, the reading, the sorting, the hunting, so he could put 100% of his energy into the high-leverage work, synthesis and presentation.
That seems to be the resolution to the automator's dilemma. You automate the back office to protect the humanity of the front stage.
Leverage isn't about doing everything yourself. It's about designing a system where your personal effort is only applied at the point of highest impact.
We are approaching a horizon line. Very soon, AI tools will cross that valley. The avatars will become indistinguishable from reality. The voice clones will capture every micro-tremor of human emotion.
That reality is inevitable.
The final question, then, is this. When the simulation is perfect, when the operator can be fully and seamlessly automated, will the value of the human finally collapse? Or will the simple knowledge that a biological human is behind the screen become the only metric that matters?
That's the wager every single creator is making right now, whether they realize it or not.
A critical thought to process. We'll see you in the next deep dive.